Don't screw this up royally. Don't make
judge us.
Don't make it like the worst thing ever, Mike. When you read these, don't be terrible.
It's going to be short and sweet.
I know, but just don't suck. It's,
okay,
it's what.
Drum roll?
It's like what they were talking about.
Please.
No, you don't need drum roll. Just fucking read them.
Do it. Fuck it. Sorry. God. All right. So news from the weekend, week before. Here we go.
Yep.
First, Sabalenka is now WTA world number 1, ending Iga's 11th month hold on the top ranking. However, it's not all she wrote to Iga. She has an opportunity to recapture the top spot at the upcoming WTA finals next month. That was good. That's a good one.
What are we playing? Clue?
Yeah.
It was Sabalenka on the court with a racket. Like, what are you doing?
This sounds like, we have like news radio when they're like, in other matches, Sheng Shalkin was a victor at the Wimbledon Championships.
Okay, let's listen. It's his first time leading off the top.
That was a good one.
Let's just try this. Do it again, except just try. Except don't suck.
All right.
It's like a table read.
Yeah, table read guy.
Table read it, dude.
You need me to redo that one? No, come on.
Yeah, I think you do. It was. I think
Sabalenka is now the WTA world number 1.
I think you should apologize to the listeners first.
Sorry, guys.
All right, go.
Ending Iga's 11-month hold on top ranking. However, it's not all she wrote for Iga. She has an opportunity to recapture the top spot of the upcoming WTA finals next month.
All right, great stuff, Mike. Way to go. That's great. I feel like I don't know. Like if I was JW, I'd be worried about his 60 Minutes gig.
I mean, definitely. I'm definitely coming for his gig.
Okay, so
this is NVIDIA does tennis.
The actual content, like the actual content. Listen, props to Sabalenka. Iga actually won the number 1 ranking from her at World Tour Finals next year. We often treat it as if Iga has been number 1, and she has been for the large part of it, but she had to win 2 matches on the trot to keep the number 1 ranking at the end of last year. It feels like we're on the same track. One of the things I do want to point out in this whole scenario with Swiatek and Sabalenka and how lucky we are to actually have the same 2 players fighting for the top spot. Again, it's a great rivalry. Both work hard, both deservedly so. And also, I'm not mad at Iga because she actually is one of the few players who talked about being a little burnt out, obviously split with a coach, but then is still taking the time, right? I like that she's gotten to the point in her career where she's taking the long view on this. She's not in a rush to get it back. It's obviously not a priority for her. She's done it before, so that helps, right? But I like that Iga is, props to Sabalenka for winning all of it and just her year in general. I think she's player of the year regardless of how the rankings shake out. And also, I like this progression from Iga where she says something, she prioritizes it, and then it doesn't matter what someone else is doing. She's kind of sticking to her game plan, obviously has to run through the new dynamic with Wim Fissette, new coach. I like that she has a new coach in play before the end of the year finishes, as opposed to like just getting a training block and starting out of the gates with Australia. How much of this is a big story and how much of it is kind of good for everybody involved, JW?
So the player with 2 majors is now ranked higher than the player with 1 major. No, I think you're right. And I think that, I think Iga's gotten to be a very complicated player. We're far and away. I mean, no question. We're like, Rafa's a joke, but we're like Chrissy on clay level greatness here. On the other surface, especially at the big events, she's had some trouble. She projects a certain nervousness. We've talked before, and I think she's fairly open about this. I mean, she's not necessarily comfortable in all that goes with being a tennis player other than hitting tennis balls. I mean, she's not someone who wears the cloak of celebrity with great comfort. There's a lot to work through. I think her camp is fairly complicated. This is not a coaching situation where you just come in. Remember, she has a full-time sports psychologist who she's close to and who is there's a real dynamic there. So I think it makes sense that this camp kind of gets the org chart and sort of figures things out before heading into 2025. But no, I mean, Iga won her major. She's a great player. I think you're right. Rivalries are healthy. If the number 1 ranking gets batted back and forth like a baseline rally, good for tennis. But I also think, like what you said, Sabalenka is your MVP. I mean, if she puts her racket down tomorrow on October 20, whatever, she's still the MVP. So I think everybody wins. The best player finishes number 1, or at least is ranked number 1 today. And Iga's got some time to regroup, and hopefully this rivalry lives on and thrives in 2025.
Yeah, it's a good point on the new coach coming in to. I think it's maybe, I don't know, but tougher because the player you're dealing with is currently number one and has been the best player in tennis for the last 4 years at scale. But going into a very established team that has had a lot of success, right, has seen the top of the mountain, wedging yourself in there. Do you want to make a bunch of changes? Are you trying things out for the rest of the year? These are all these big macro questions. Is the fit, have they already signed a deal for 2 years? Is this a thing that they're going to try through the rest? There's a lot of this stuff that we don't totally know yet. But simply, Iga talks about being burnt out. A lot of people talk about how the tennis season's too long, and then they add 17 exos in the week before some other event, right? Which is their prerogative. I'm never going to beat someone up for, managing or mismanaging a schedule. We're adults. It's their prerogative. I can tell you it probably wasn't beneficial, or maybe it was, but it is nice when someone says, hey, here's this big issue that we all talk about. And you know what? I can pull back at this stage in my career and I don't have to do it. I like the fact that there seems to be a focus, whether it's coaching, whether it's taking a break when you have to. I like that the long view seems to be the guiding factor for Swiatek right now. And Sabalenka, everything you said, times a million, has been phenomenal this year and the last couple of years in general.